If you're planning a trip to Cancun, Playa del Carmen, or Tulum, and you're wondering what's all the hype around Xcaret and if it's worth it to go spend a day there, you're in the right place. I'm gonna give you a full rundown of everything there is to do over there, how to plan your day, pro tips, and at the end of the video, I'm also gonna tell you 3 things you absolutely do not wanna miss if you go and spend a day at Xcaret. For anyone that's new here, hi, my name is Ebony. I've been a digital nomad for over 8 years. I'm obsessed with sharing this lifestyle with everyone. And I just recently came back from a holiday in Cancun with my family. And this was actually the first holiday that I took in 2 years. Now, I know this is gonna sound really surprising because if you check my socials, it looks like I'm always traveling. But remember, I'm a digital nomad and I actually work as I travel. So traveling is kind of part of my everyday life and routine now. But taking a holiday was something really, really special. I took 2 weeks off. I wanted to do and see everything that I could in Cancun. And by the way, if you're looking for inspiration on what to do in Cancun, I highly recommend you check out my bucket list activities of things to do in Cancun video. I'm gonna link it in the description and you'll find it at the end of this video as well. But Xcaret was by far the most expensive and biggest store that we booked. So I really wanted to make sure we made the most out of it. And if you're planning to go there, I want the same for you. It's overwhelming, it's huge. There's a lot to see, a lot to do, and you want to stretch that dollar as far as you can because it's not a cheap day, okay? So let's get started. Let me tell you everything you need to know about Xcaret.
You've arrived at your destination.
Okay, so first things first, what, where, and how? Xcaret is the biggest theme park in Mexico and a self-described ecotourism development. It's best known for its underground rivers that run through the entire park and also the fact that they educate over 1 million people per year on the Mayan culture, the local wildlife and marine life, and the delicate ecosystem of the Mexican Caribbean. Xcaret is located in the Riviera Maya in Playa del Carmen. So there are 2 ways that you could go to Xcaret because Xcaret is actually a resort. So the first way would be to stay at the resort and you will have an all-inclusive access to all of the parks, and that's for a mere price of $8,000 to $10,000 per week per person. If not, then you can purchase a day pass like the rest of us peasants and just go spend a day or 2 there. You can buy a multi-day pass if you'd like, but those are both of your options. You either stay at the resort or you buy day passes. Here's a pro tip on where you're gonna find the best deal for your day passes, and that is 100% through the Xcaret website. Don't do this mistake. We spend hours and hours shopping to tourist kiosks and going to hotels trying to find the best deals. You're not gonna find the best deals there. The best deals are 100% online. You can also chat with someone directly on their website and try to negotiate the best option for you, but save your time, go online and book your tickets there. Here's another time saver pro tip if you're wondering which package to choose between the Xcaret normal admission, the Xcaret plus admission, and the Xcaret total admission. So we decided to go with the plus admission, and honestly, we didn't even have time to do and see everything. However, if you were considering doing one of the extra activities, like the optional activities, for example, swimming with stingrays, nurse sharks, the sea trek, the speedboat, then it's definitely worth taking the Xcaret total admission because you will have one of those included in that. Another thing to mention that is really important is that the plus and total include a meal, and it is 100% worth it. Once you're in the resort, it's kind of like Disney World or any resort actually, and the food is a lot more expensive if you buy it there than if you take it in your ticket. So highly recommend taking the option that already has the food, which is the plus or the total. You'll save a lot of money there. Unfortunately, they do not let you bring snacks in. They check bags and things like that. So I would be really careful with how you plan your day. We decided to have breakfast at the resort. We had a super late lunch that was like our included meal of the day around like 3 p.m. And then we had snacks to last us throughout the day. And for us, that was totally fine. But yeah, you will have to spend a little bit of money on snacks as well, so bring some cash or cards. Pro tip on what to bring. Since we took the plus admission, we had access to changing rooms and lockers, which was a total game changer for us. So we brought a change of clothes so that we would be comfortable, towels, water, sunscreen, caps, really comfortable shoes, okay? At the end of the day, my watch was telling me that we had walked over 25,000 steps. You do not want to spend the whole entire day in uncomfortable flip-flops. So wear your most comfortable shoes, and because you'll have access to the locker, you can leave your stuff there, not worry. And honestly, it's the best case scenario. Once you enter the park, here are the two things that you need to do first. First, you need to grab a map and hold on to that like dear life because this park is huge. You can easily get lost, so grab a map, keep it with you. The second thing you're gonna do is you're gonna wanna find the board where they have all the representations and different shows going out throughout the day, and you're gonna wanna take a picture of that so that you don't miss out the shows and the representations that you really want to see. Again, this place is huge. It's easy to get lost, distracted, and we were like, oh, we're just gonna go with the flow. It's gonna be fine. And we missed out on so many cool shows. So please don't do that. Go sit down somewhere and make sure you map out the things that you want to do, because again, you're not going to be able to see and do everything. Realistically, that would take 2 days, honestly. So you're going to want to really be strategic with what you want to see in what area and choose from that. So I'm going to put up a map and I'm going to tell you guys what we did, and it really worked out for us. But you might have different interests. Still, this is gonna give you a really good idea of how to plan out your day and make sure you make the most out of it. Pro tip, if you wanna make out the most of your day, arrive at the opening. We arrived there at 8:30 a.m. We left at 10 p.m. and we still did not have time to do and see everything. Here's a realistic expectation of how we broke out our day and what worked out for us. We entered the park, we did breakfast and strategic planning. Then we did non-water activities. Then we planned the underground river to open our appetites. Then we did our super late lunch. Then we did water activities. Then we had snacks and free time. And then we did the final show. And that was more than enough for us. We left there pooped and like happy, happily pooped, but like really tired and really happy with our days. Okay, so hopefully that is helpful. Now let me show you what we did. And again, I'm gonna give you my top 3 recommendations of things that you can absolutely not miss. It really depends on your interest, but there's really 3 things I think you cannot leave Xcaret without seeing and doing. We decided we would start the day with the Mayan village. So as we were planning out and having breakfast, we encountered our first wildlife, and then we took the cave routes to the Mayan village, and I highly recommend doing that as well. It was really cool. We didn't take enough time, honestly, to go through them all, but there was a lot of little hidden spots, and you could find like skeletons and little holes with treasures and things like that. So it was really, really cool. And then once we arrived at the Mayan village, I was in awe. It's a beautiful, almost perfect representation of a Mayan village. You literally feel like you're transported back in time into their cultures. And there's local artisans there that are literally working their craft, so you can watch them and learn from them and what they're doing. You'll learn about their traditions, their way of lives, what they like, what they didn't like, how they build their houses. And it was such a cool experience to actually see it, because a lot of the tours, they'll tell you about it, but you can't actually envision it. But this is the perfect envisionment, I don't know if that's a word, but of being there and feeling it. And once we were there, we learned that there was gonna be a show later on, so we came back and we watched a show that was telling the story of the Mayan traditions and cultures, and it was a live show with live music and dancers. I highly recommend you get there early because it's kind of first come, first serves. There's no like assigned seating. You kind of just sit wherever makes most sense to you and you watch the show. It's 30-45 minutes approximately, but definitely worth it. I was really happy that we caught that one. That was the only show that we caught that day, but it was amazing. So really, really happy we did that. After that, we headed to the cemetery, and usually cemeteries like spook me out. I don't like it, but the Mexicans, they really celebrate life and death, and the cemetery is colorful and full of life. So it's definitely something you do not want to miss out. Every single tomb tells a personal story about the person that's deceased, and you could spend hours wandering in there and just looking at every single tomb. They're so unique, so beautiful, so different. Honestly, it was such a refreshing perspective to see how the Mayans and the Mexican really celebrate life and through death, basically. And it almost made me want to have a tomb like that when I'm dead. I don't want to be sinister, but anyways, it's something I'm considering because I really felt life and joy rather than sadness and heaviness around it. So definitely check it out. Next, we went to the bird aviary, and this is a bird sanctuary, a natural haven supporting the development of over 1,500 Mexican bird species, including a lot of them that are actually endangered. Many of these birds roam freely in their habitat, so if you're uneasy around birds, this is not gonna be your favorite activity. But if you do like birds and animals, there you're gonna encounter green mackays, toucans, flamingos, chicks, and so much more. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's really, really cool. Close to that area, you're gonna find the butterfly pavilion, and this is where my stepdad had the time of his life. He is the butterfly whisperer. Again, if you're scared of insects, they roam freely everywhere, so I don't recommend. That was the case for me. I walked in there like this. Terrified. So remember that you don't have to do everything, eh? And after that, we stopped to where there was cougars and jaguars, and we were lucky enough to see a cougar. But it did look kind of sad. It was turning around on itself. So I really, really hope that it gets released into the wilds. Now, whilst we were there and doing the non-water activities, we completely missed out on the Coral Reef Aquarium, where you could see sea turtles and manatees. So I highly recommend you squeeze that in. And again, this is where your planning at the beginning of the day is gonna be really, really useful. And it was all close to that area. So make sure you map out everything you wanna see. After that, as mentioned earlier, we did the famous underground rivers, and you can expect this to take anywhere between 1 to 2 hours to do the full tour, but note that you can get out at any point if you'd like. So we passed through the Mayan village again, and honestly it was really cool because you get to see it from a different perspective. We went through caves that had bats in them, and then we went through this like mangrove forest, and it was overall such a cool experience. Pro tip would be bring some water shoes, and FYI, the water is really cold, so please expect that when you're going into the water first. It's a shock, but after that it gets really comfortable, it's refreshing, and it's definitely worth it. After our very late lunch, which was delicious, pro tip, we chose the seafood restaurant, and it was chef's kiss, absolutely amazing. We wanted to rest a bit, so we went to the natural pools, and this was the part where we should have been doing all of the water activities, but we just felt a bit tired and wanted to rest. I was there with my mom, who is 67 years old, and my stepdad, so obviously they needed a break, and that's totally fine. You'll go at your pace. But once more, there we could have done snorkeling, which we missed out on. If you have the energy and you're more organized than us, here are the things that we could have done that we missed out. I've already mentioned the aquarium, the snorkeling, but there's also a horse showing, there's a wine cellar, there's the scenic tower. And I also noticed that in the afternoon, this is where all the activities are happening. So for example, you could go and make your own chocolate bar. You can take part in a ritual ceremony, but you have to know that all of these extra activities are only available in Spanish. So if you don't speak a word of Spanish, like yo, then you're probably not gonna be able to do that. What I did find was a little station where you could do your own makeup as a Day of the Dead like kind of ritual. So I did that, and then we headed to the Orchid Museum and Greenhouse. I'll be honest, it wasn't as impressive as the wildlife, but again, this really depends on your interest. So finally, here are the 3 things that you cannot miss, in my opinion, if you are going to Xcaret. First, the Mayan village is an absolute must. I don't think you can go to Xcaret without seeing it. It is a cultural immersion, and it is for people of every age, of everywhere in the world. It was magical, magical. The second thing, and this is what Xcaret is most famous for, obviously, the underground rivers. And if you don't like swimming or you don't want to get wet, here's another pro tip. You can actually do this on a raft, and it's free in your admission. So you can check that out. If you don't want to swim the whole thing, there's a raft boat that will take you the same thing as the underground rivers, and you can do that, but you don't want to miss that. And last but not least is the final show. Guys, this show alone was worth the whole entire ticket. It made us laugh. It made us cry. Not even kidding. Me and my mom were crying. We cheered, we sang, and we were in awe. We learned more about the Mexican culture, and we left there feeling blissfully happy and just so content of our day at Xcaret. It was the perfect way to end the day, and some people come just for the show. So that is 100%. Do not miss the show from 7 to 9. You want to be there. You want to see it. No words can describe the show. There's some images now, but it really, you have to see it in person. So lastly, answering the question, is it worth it? Well, only if you want to have the time of your life. Yes, 100%. It is worth every penny if you ask me. It was by far my favorite activity of all of the activities that we did during our holidays in Cancun. I would 100% recommend. I would even go back. I would go back. That's how much I loved it, and do all the things that I missed out on. So Don't forget to check out my best things to do in Cancun video and to like, comment, share this video if it helped you and if it gave you inspiration on how to better plan your day to visit Xcaret. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!